Good evening. You're welcome to News at 6 from the studios of Big Family Radio. Now the top stories are: Maha Beach Resort continues operations despite fire incidents. Dr. Rashid Tanko, computer, has defended President Mohammed's balancing the court remark. In the international news, a China expert, Andrew Leung, has analyzed U.S. State Department's move to revoke student visas for Chinese nationals. Jeremy Corbyn has demanded transparency on UK arms exports to Israel and has warned that British public deserves to know their country's role. In the entertainment news, Shirley Frimpong Manson makes theater debut with Honeymoon Hotel movie. Let's go for a quick commercial break, and when we are back, I would give you the details of these stories and more.
Oh, so in my car traffic no more sense. But I forget it. Rebecca was cemetery. Hey, Charlie, UPO silly a nice power. Shabaristas papi, kitchen cabinet, electrical works installation is also a very nice power. Where do you sabro you?
If I butcher a Ghana hire, a Honto AA construction works.
A Honto AA construction.
Just send a mid danger and nice to engine and assassination of a car. A Honto Darman team if I complete. It is a open building company. Our Musi diner one who dinner at Chenas as we have a Kahua. A Honto AA construction works. Omuya dinosaur capitry work be a father and who be a Honto AA betting me I am. Oh, shall me kitchen cabinet no papa. A one who dinner AA construction at Daramanti. Sebani plumbing works be a Honto AA construction the Muslim. Shall me kitchen name a bathhouse. Plumbing works a Wahanina a Honto AA constructions. And a ban electrical installation and design works be a Honto AA construction. Yamani City International Standard.
Oh, that's very nice. Shetali Papa Bia Yeli. Painting is very nice and unique. When so a Honto for
and a ban tile in painting works there. Honto AA construction a masterclass. Quality POP barristers. And now fabrication of modern aluminium works are. For when it's true Honto AA construction works. Honto AA construction works so on bathroom doors, wooden doors, BAB, say a single, double, and answer 1.5. Almost also to main gate or modi governance and stainless steel swai. Trisha Honto AA construction for a track a chamai, a bank 3 junction, Amasamai, and answer as a Mankesi police barrier. From more number issue 0547 118 843 and answer 0537 883 572.
No is it tomorrow, somebody else come pick you.
You're welcome back. My name is Esther Akusyak Bubli. Now the details of the story. Speaking in an interview, Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer has mounted a spirited defense of President Mohammed's recent balancing the court comment. His remarks come amidst ongoing discussions and varied interpretations of the president's statement.
That's what we're trying to reset. I mean, it's not balancing. We are not interested in balancing anything. The president never, in his utterances during the campaign era, that he was going to balance anything there. He
Even
never
with the meeting with the lawyers?
Oh, I was there in that meeting. I was there. I sat through the meeting.
Well, he told them to prepare themselves to take up positions.
No, he was. He told them that, look, we have fine brains amongst you, but you don't want to go to the bench. So if you don't go to the bench, and those who are not too brainy like you take decisions, then you are criticizing and saying that they are not doing the right thing. You should prepare to take up roles at the bench. Is it not true? Don't you have one of the finest brains that you see in Ghana? They are at the bar. They don't want to go to the bench. I'm sure maybe because of the condition of service and all that. So he was just encouraging them. Why not bring those your brains, fine brains, to the bench to assist the justice delivery in this country? Beautiful call. Yeah. We have them beautiful call. Can you imagine? Look at the fine brains that we have out there. And so he says this, and then MPP, you know them, they are just looking for a straw to hang on. That he says is coming to balance. There was not even a balance. He didn't use any word, but they created their own word. You know, MPP are fast in creating words. When you said you are going to do review of this thing, they will go and create.
You said you cancel.
They will say cancel.
The president said.
You are listening to Big Family Radio. Big Family Radio.
I was there. There was nothing like that. Oh, look, I'm saying that The president never said we want to
No,
balance
that-
it.
that balance was
We played the video, the original one, the flag bearer. I was in that place. Nobody told me. You know, at that time, I was the lead trainer of the lawyers for the elections, and that one was about the election management. And so after training them, the president came in to deliver his speech. So I sat through.
Perhaps
And
you were revising
I
your
said,
notes, you didn't hear that
I
part.
said there was nothing like this. The MPP created everything, created their own ways, and they are doing those things. That's what they do.
MPP
They do. Propaganda.
So
Propaganda. It fell flat. It didn't even
No,
go in
you
the
said that the president seen on video saying to balance
out.
That part was adopted on
Elvis,
what
is it the first time you have seen people being... AI is now doing a lot of videos and putting out there. Elvis, will you publish things like that?
Thank you.
To end the local news. Despite a fire that occurred on the night of Wednesday, May 28, 2025, Maha Beach Resort is fully operational and welcoming guests. The blaze, which affected 18 rooms within the resort, has not interrupted overall business, as confirmed by Jean Jacques Mars, the Director of Operation. Mars emphasized that the resort's commitment to guest service and experience remains a top priority. While investigations into the cause of the fire are underway, the unaffected areas of the resort, including its various amenities and facilities, are open and available for use. Guests with existing bookings are encouraged to proceed with their travel plans, and new reservations are being accepted.
So yeah, I'm Jean-Jacques Maz from Habit Resort, Director of Operations. I have to talk about this because we can see that a lot is going on social media, and to bring light to all what is going on. Mahabit Resort is still running 24 hours as usual, and people who love Mahabit Resort are also invited to continue dealing with us because everything is going on well. We had an incident that happened yesterday around 7 p.m. to 40 p.m. yesterday when our security guards quickly called me to inform me that there was fire close to our gate. Another resort, I don't want to mention names, and I think fire service will clarify all these. And quickly we were called to gather our team to prevent the fire to fall on our side of the wall. And unfortunately the wind didn't help. So fire service were called and they were working, doing their diligent duty, fighting fire at the other side of Mahabit Resort. Later on, with the help of the wind, some of the particles or how can I say that, parts of fire felt on our
You are
side,
listening
one of
to
the
Big
parts.
Family Radio.
And
Big Family
we
Radio.
lost one building of 88 rooms with all all the contents of the rooms. The fire extended to another block of 10 rooms, making it 18 rooms that we felt that there was no casualty at our end. The fire service really helped and the fire was controlled. We lost 18 rooms, and I think everything is going to be built back, and we continue enjoying. We can't really fight against things like this, but we are always ready. Our team, the emergency team of Mahabit Resort staff, were able to also help. The fire service can testify to what we also did to prevent the incident to escalate. So you are still planning, come to Mahabit Resort, check by yourself, and you will see what's happening.
So what will you tell anyone that wants to come to Mahabit?
Please book Mahabit Resort. We are still the resort that you love and you like to visit. Don't be afraid of anything. Everything is under control. Don't be afraid. Check by yourself.
Before we move to the international news, News at 6 is sponsored by Ahoto AA Construction Works. Simon Sanders reports that Vice President J.D. Vance, along with two former along with two President Donald Trump's son, Eric Trump, and Donald Trump Jr., recently participated as speakers at a high-profile Bitcoin conference held in Las Vegas. During the event, they discussed topics related to cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. At the same time, Trump media made an announcement revealing its ambitious plan to raise $2.5 billion in funding specifically aimed at purchasing Bitcoin, signaling a significant investment in the digital currency space by the Trump-affiliated media company.
Well, President Trump is boosting his family's investments in cryptocurrency, and he's using the presidency to do it. Crypto is an unregulated digital currency. Think of it as the wild, wild west of finance, if you will. And to make more money, the Trump family wants to keep it that way. Today, Vice President J.D. Vance, because he had nothing else to do, spoke at a Bitcoin conference in Las Vegas, using his bully pulpit to effectively advance Trump's business interests.
We reject the Biden administration's legacy of death by 1,000 enforcement actions. We reject regulators.
Trump's sons, Don Jr. and Eric, were also at the conference. Meanwhile, Trump's media company just announced a $2.5 billion with a B dollar investment in Bitcoin just this.
During a press event held in the Oval Office on Wednesday, President Donald Trump was questioned by reporters about his views on whether Russian President Vladimir Putin genuinely intends to bring an end to the ongoing war in Ukraine. In response, Trump stated that he could not provide a definite answer at the moment, but promised to share more information within approximately 2 weeks. He explained that during this period, they expect to gain clearer insight into Putin's true intentions. Trump emphasized that the U.S. administration is closely monitoring the situation to determine whether Putin is acting in good faith or merely attempting to deceive. He further warned that if it becomes evident that Putin is not being honest or cooperative, the United States would adjust its response strategy accordingly, potentially taking a firmer stance.
Do you believe the Russians are being disrespectful when they say that your criticisms of Putin are simply an emotional response? And do you still believe that Putin actually wants to end the war?
I can't tell you that, but I'll let you know in about 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, we're going to find out very soon. We're going to find out whether or not he's tapping us along or not. And if he is, we'll respond a little bit differently, but it'll take about a week and a half, 2 weeks. We have Mr. Witkoff is here, is doing a phenomenal job, is dealing with them very strongly right now. They seem to want to do something, but until the document is signed, I can't tell you. Nobody can. I can say this. I can say this, that I'm very disappointed at what happened a couple of nights now where people were killed in the middle of what you would call a negotiation. I'm very disappointed by that. Very, very disappointed.
Still on the international news, Andrew Leung, a renowned expert specializing in Chinese affairs, has offered an in-depth analysis of the recent policy decision by the U.S. State Department to initiate the revocation of student visas granted to Chinese nationals enrolled at universities throughout the United States. This move represents a notable and unprecedented shift in U.S. immigration and educational policy, driven largely by escalating concerns related to national security risk and the protection of intellectual property. Leung explores the multifaceted impact of this policy change, highlighting how it could disrupt academic exchanges that have long fostered collaboration between the two countries. Furthermore, he discusses the potential strain this may place on diplomatic relations between the U.S. and China, as well as the broader consequences for Chinese students who seek higher education opportunities in America. According to Leung, the decision could lead to decreased enrollment of Chinese students affect research partnerships, and contribute to a more polarized geopolitical environment, potentially influencing future educational and economic ties between the two nations.
China now accounts for a quarter of all the foreign students in some of the Americans' elite universities. The global paranoia about the rise of China translates into all things for all people. I mean, across the board, suspicion against anything Chinese, Chinese products, Chinese trade, Chinese people. This kind of refusal of visas, suspicions of China's student espionage, represents a paranoia across the aisle in the United States about the China threat. But this seems to be a blanket kind of approach, sending very negative signals to either current or prospective Chinese students, and that would only push back some of the top talents away from the United States back to China.
Jeremy Corbyn, an independent member of parliament in the United Kingdom, has publicly demanded greater transparency and accountability concerning the UK government's arms export to Israel. Highlighting the gravity of the issue, Corbyn stated that the people of Britain need to know that their country is complicit in this, underscoring the moral and political responsibility that comes with such military trade. He has called on government officials to provide clear and comprehensive answers about the scale and nature of arms shipment to Israel, particularly in the context of ongoing conflicts and human rights concerns. Corbyn argues that the British public deserves full disclosure regarding how these arms exports may be used and what role the UK might be playing in regional tensions. By urging for openness, he seeks to hold the government accountable and ensure that ethical considerations are prioritized in foreign policy decisions related to arms sales.
What I've demanded is now an inquiry into the British government's policies in relation to the supply of arms to Israel and diplomatic support they've given to Israel. David Lammy eventually said they were going to suspend some of the arms licenses, 30 out of the 300 that Britain had at the time. We still don't know what those licenses really are. Weapons are still being supplied, and the Royal Air Force Base in Cyprus, Akrotiri, is also being used as a staging point. And we also are aware that 15% of the total number of components of every F-35 jet are made in Britain. They couldn't fly without the British parts. They're still being supplied. And the government's response is that they abide by international humanitarian law, but they can't upset the global supply chain of the F-35 because they don't know which parts go to which country. I'm sorry, that's just utter nonsense. It's just nonsense. They know exactly where every single one of those parts goes. Those industries are very well organised and very careful on their record keeping. We need to know the truth, and the people of Britain need to know that their country is complicit in this.
Dr. Wasim Saeed, a plastic and reconstructive surgeon, has provided a detailed explanation of the severe challenges faced by medical professionals in Gaza due to Israel's ongoing blockade on humanitarian aid. He highlights that the restrictions on the flow of essential medical supplies, equipment and medications are critically impairing doctors' capacity to effectively treat the growing number of wounded Palestinians. Dr. Saeed emphasizes that the blockade not only limits access to life-saving materials, but also exacerbates the already dire healthcare conditions in the region, making complex surgical procedures and reconstructive treatment increasingly difficult or impossible to perform. This situation, according to Dr. Saeed, places immense strain on medical teams and drastically reduces the chances of recovery for many patients injured in the conflict.
a shortage of medical supplies has been a hallmark of this conflict from the beginning, and there are limited amounts getting in. But what you really need to keep in mind is that the most important medical supply is nutrition. It's pointless operating on people if they're not going to heal. And what you now have is a year and a half plus of people on very poor diets, very little nutritional food. It's really calories, that's what it is. And we saw it firsthand. I consider myself a reasonable plastic surgeon, but I'd be lucky if I got 50% take on some of the skin grafts. You take stitches out at the normal time and the wounds start to open up. So you have to put them back in. We are seeing the effects of this very poor state of nutrition.
Rami Kori, a distinguished fellow at the American University of Beirut, has drawn urgent attention to the escalating humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza, where starvation has become so acute that many individuals are compelled to risk their lives by venturing into dangerous areas under threat of gunfire, merely to obtain basic food supplies. Corey has underscored that the severe scarcity of essential resources, including food, clean water, and medical supplies, is driving the population to extreme desperation, a direct consequence of the prolonged blockade and ongoing hostilities in the region. He stresses that this dire situation not only endangers the immediate survival and well-being of Gaza's civilians, but also exacerbates the broader regional instability, potentially fueling further conflict and violations of fundamental human rights. Corey calls for urgent international intervention to alleviate the suffering and prevent full-scale humanitarian disaster. Dr. Feroz Sitha, a U.S. trauma surgeon who volunteered in Gaza, has delivered a harrowing testimony before the United Nations Security Council, alleging that he treated children who had been deliberately shot by Israeli forces. His statement painted a grim picture of the humanitarian crisis and the intentional targeting of civilians within the besieged enclave. During his address, Dr. Sitha recounted his experiences at medical facilities in Gan Yunis during his volunteer missions in 2024 and 2025. He emphasized that he did not encounter or treat a single combatant during his 5 weeks in Gaza. Instead, his patients included 6-year-olds with shrapnel in their hearts and bullets in their brains, pregnant women whose pelvises were obliterated and fetuses cut into two while still in the womb. He explicitly stated that he personally treated 13 cases of children shot in the head within a 2-week period at the European hospital. Dr. Sitha asserted that the medical system in Gaza has not merely failed, but has been systematically dismantled through a sustained military campaign, that has willfully violated international humanitarian law. He highlighted the deliberate denial of essential conditions for life, including food, shelter, water, and medicine, and stressed that preventing genocide means refusing to normalize these atrocities. He also spoke to Al Jazeera, further detailing the horrific injuries inflicted upon civilians. He described mass casualty events, including one on March 18th, where 221 trauma patients arrived at NASA Medical Complex in a single morning, 90 of whom were dead on arrival, and nearly half were severely injured children. He underscored that no health system, especially one under siege and starved of supplies, could cope with such an onslaught. Dr. Sidher's testimony highlighted the psychological toll of the conflict, noting that nearly half of Gaza's children are reportedly suicidal, with some asking why they didn't die with their families. He urged the Security Council to demand an immediate and permanent ceasefire, halt all arms transfers, guarantee medical evacuations, and ensure sustained humanitarian access to Gaza, warning that inaction would be a testament to a global failure to provide urgent care and to the collapse of our collective conscience.
And let's not forget, this is a man-made catastrophe. It is entirely preventable. Participating in it or not, allowing it to happen is a choice. My patients were 6-year-olds with shrapnels in their heart and bullets in their brains, and pregnant women whose pelvises had been obliterated and their fetuses cut in two while still in the womb. The medical system has not failed. It has been systematically dismantled through a sustained military campaign that has willfully violated international humanitarian law. Civilians are now dying not just from the constant airstrikes, but from acute malnutrition, sepsis, exposure, and despair. Between my 2 visits to Gaza, I witnessed a sharp decline in patients' health, driven not just by injury, but by worsening hunger and malnutrition that left their bodies weaker, their wounds slower to heal, and their survival far less certain. I personally treated 13 such cases in my 2 weeks at European Hospital. According to the War Child Alliance, nearly half of Gaza's children are suicidal. They ask, why didn't I die with my sister, my mother, my father? Not out of extremism, but out of unbearable grief. I wonder if any member of this council has ever met a 5-year-old child who no longer wants to live.
Ambassador Kristen Salumi from Al Jazeera in English. How would you respond to the allegations that he's raised?
There is suffering in Gaza, but the blame is on the shoulders of Hamas. Hamas that started the war, and Hamas that is not willing to lay down their weapons and release the hostages. So there will continue to be suffering until Hamas will understand that they will not stay in Gaza.
If you adjust for the size of the population, the rate of killing of healthcare workers in Gaza is 143 times higher.
Moving on to the entertainment news. Ghana celebrated Ghanaian filmmaker Shirley Frimpong Manson is set to make a highly anticipated theatre directorial debut with the stage play Honeymoon Hotel, presented by Africa Arts Network. This marks a significant new chapter for the acclaimed director renowned for her impactful cinematic works. Adapted and directed by Frimpong Manson, from the original script by playwright Stephen Yao Opon. Honeymoon Hotel is scheduled to run at the National Theatre in Accra from June 20th to 22nd, 2025. The production is already generating considerable buzz due to its intriguing title, the involvement of major stars, and its cultural significance within Ghana's vibrant arts scene. A star-studded ensemble cast bringing this captivating story to life is a powerhouse ensemble. The stellar lineup includes Jocelyn Dumas, James Gardner, Amake Abebese, Godwin Nambo, Andrew Tando Adote, Gadede Segbefia, David Donto, Jasmine Barudi, and Amanda Gise. Honeymoon Hotel is a witty and emotionally rich romantic dramedy. The play is set in a luxurious hotel designed to celebrate everlasting love, but appearances can be deceiving as various guests arrive, each harboring their own secrets, and the hotel staff navigating their complicated relationships, chaos and comedy collide in unexpected ways. The narrative skillfully tackles themes of love, commitment, deceit, and second chances with a unique blend of humor and depth. Shirley Frimpong Manson's transition to stage speaking on her exciting transition from screen to stage. Theatre is raw, immediate and alive in a way that is different from film. I'm incredibly excited to be making my theatre debut. It's been such a thrilling experience diving into rehearsals, working closely with this amazing cast, and rediscovering storytelling in its purest form. Honeymoon Hotel is going to be sensational. It's funny. It's got a lot of drama and surprises, and I can't wait for everyone to see what we've been cooking up. Now moving on to the last story. Ghanaian artist Kenny Ice has spoken out about the language barrier in the country's music industry, recounting an instance where a radio station refused to play his song because it was in Ewe. During an interview with the media, Kenny Ice explained that less popular languages face significant challenges in gaining traction due to the misconception that music must be universally understood. He questioned how artists singing in languages like Dagbani or Ewe can compete with Twi, Fanti and Akan languages in the industry, while Kenny Ice, an Ewe, uses his native language in some songs. He also creates music with no Ewe words, adapting his language choice to the type of song. The Steez hitmaker, who addressed the trend of Ghanaian rappers transitioning to singing. He cited the example of YouTuber Kula, who stopped making music because, despite receiving compliments for his rap skills, financial deals primarily went to Afrobeat and danceable music artists. Kenny Ice believes that if Ken Paluta had continued rapping, he wouldn't have achieved his current success, even suggesting a hypothetical scenario where Dr. Baumia wouldn't offer a deal to a rapping Paluta. Kenny Ice revealed his own strategy of releasing commercial songs, interspersed with occasional hardcore rap, and even mentioned venturing into electronic dance music. He further highlighted the disparity in remuneration, noting that event organizers prioritize singers who might earn 100,000 Ghana cedis compared to a rapper's 15,000 Ghana cedis for a show. Now to end the news, the top stories again. Maha Beach Resort continues operations despite fire incidents. Dr. Rashid Tanko, computer, has defended President Mohammed's balancing the court remark. China expert Andrew Liang has analyzed U.S. State Department's move to revoke student visas for Chinese nationals. A U.S. surgeon has testified to deliberate shootings of children in Gaza. And in the entertainment news, a radio station refused to play my song because it was an Ewe song, says Kenny Eyes. News at 6 was sponsored by Ahonto AA Construction Works, Ruth Fashion and Deco, Dim Herbal, Williams Pub, MB Cakes and Pastries, Big Family Multimedia Institute, BFM Store, Center for Trade, and Trustees Network Group. You can also download our radio app on the Play Store and App Store. You can as well follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Big Family Radio, YouTube and TikTok at Big Family Radio and Big Family TV. A massive thank you to my producers. My name is Esther Kusiagbobli. Thank you for joining News at 6.
Oh, so in my crowd traffic no moon sense. But they forget it. You better have cemetery. Hey, Charlie, UPO silly a nice power. Shebaristes papi, kitchen cabinet, electrical works and installation is also a very nice power. Where do you sabro you?
If I butcher, Ghana hire, Ahonto AA Construction Works.
Ahonto AA Construction.
Just send a mid danger and nice to engine and assassination of a car. Ahonto Darman team if I complete. It is a open building company. Our Musi diner one who dinner at Chenas as we have a kahua. Ahonto AA Construction Works. Omuya dinosaur carpentry work be a father and who be Ahonto AA betting me I am. Oh, shall me kitchen cabinet no papa. A one who dinner AA Construction at Daramanti. Sebani plumbing works be a Ahonto AA Construction the Muslim. Shall me kitchen name a bathhouse. Plumbing works a Wahinaya Ahonto AA Constructions. And a ban electrical installation and design works be a Ahonto AA Construction. Yamani City International Standard.
Oh, that's very nice. Shetale Papa Biayeli. Painting is very nice and unique. When so Ahonto for
and a banner tile in the painting works there. Ahonto AA Construction a master class. Quality POP barristers. And now fabrication of modern aluminium works are. For when it's true Ahonto AA Construction Works. Ahonto AA Construction Works so on bathroom doors, wooden doors, BAB, say single, double, and answer 1.5. Almost also to main gate or modi governance and stainless steel swai. Trisha Ahonto AA Construction for a track kwaiwo. A chamai a bank 3 junction. Ewo amasamai and answer asamai kesi police barrier. From our number is 0547 118 843 and I say 0537 883 572.
No way is it tomorrow, somebody else gonna pick you up.